last day of the lunch series. We've been all over the internet. We've been on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on Facebook, and I've even gone on Periscope every single day. I really wanted to talk a lot about the realities of working from home, as well as how to build a business for yourself as a social media manager. So without further ado, let's go into session 5, where we talk about challenges and PJs.
I can't tell you how much I love that.
Yay! I'm glad. I wanted to test something out. I wanted to do something a little bit different. And that's kind of my intro for the live streams right now. So
dum, 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 dum. I love it. Actually, it's very professional. I think that's really great. And I'm glad you tested it out.
Yay! I'm glad it worked.
How much of our life is testing and checking and see if we broke something, right?
Which goes into our topic for today, challenges.
That's right, challenges. And the thing about it is we all have challenges, right? We all have challenges, and they could be tech challenges. They can be emotional challenges. They could be communication challenges. There can be challenges in knowing what's right for you to be doing. I mean, literally all the challenges.
All of the things. And guess what? I think the biggest challenge is when all of them happen at the same time.
Yes.
Okay.
Because those tech challenges can really pull up all those emotional challenges, like that imposter syndrome that might show up, or that insecurity of doing what you're doing and not feeling that confidence that you really want to step into the role of what you're trying to do. I mean, all those things, right? Tech can trigger all of those things going like that.
Oh, that definitely can. It definitely can. Well, just so everyone knows, for those of you who've been watching, you notice I sometimes put my arm up here. It's because I just set up my phone up on my Archon mount so that I can see all of the comments that are coming in through LinkedIn. So I want to say hello real quickly to those on Facebook, on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Periscope. Today, we're talking about the challenges of being a social media manager from home. And real talk, we're not going to lie. We're not going to hold anything back. I'm going to even start with a challenge that I had today.
Is that good? Right?
Okay. Yeah, I figured the real ones are the best ones, right? So one of the things that I love about Social Media Manager School is the fact that we don't claim that you're going to make $1 million tomorrow, right? And we also kind of help you build your business. And I say we because even though Phyllis is one of the co-founders, she has people in the group that are always like, oh, try this, try this. So I kind of feel like it's a community where it's like, we don't let you fail. We don't let you do this. But one of the things is sales. I'm going to be honest, it is sales. So to me, one of the challenges is sales. I know my stuff, and people who work with me understand that I know my stuff. But sales, OMG, that is not my thing. That is my challenge. I want to give you everything. And Phyllis is laughing because she's like, Daphne, that's something that people can pay for. And I'm like, but they need it. I'll just keep giving and keep giving. But you know what? The more you give, guess what? You won't be able to get paid for your service. So a challenge for me is sales, and it's how to make sure that you're constantly selling, because when a contract is over, you want to make sure that you do have a pipeline of leads that are coming in. Yeah. So I find that balance is very difficult, doing the work and marketing for your business to ensure that you have leads.
Yeah, that's a great point. Now, there is an echo now, so I don't know if that's from the new phone or not. But I'm going to go ahead and say my comment about that, is that both of us are at core teachers and mothers and educators, and that's who we are at core. And so, of course, we want to give everybody all the things, and we want to add on to things that, here, take this too, and go ahead and you can have this for free because that's our nature. But what happens is we are running a business and we are responsible for running a business. And so there are ways to kind of like have a companion to this teacher mother thing that wants to give out everything. And you can trick yourself into doing it by just saying, what would so-and-so do, right? So how would so-and-so manage this? And you can pick out your person who you think is doing a really good job with making that connection. I have a hard time with the word sales because I think it's service. And I always say that, and I remember distinctly when I was able to turn that around for me. I think I mentioned this. It feels like I've been telling all the stories, but it was always about, I need this, I need this, I need this. And the moment I turned it around and says, what can I give? What can I give? What can I give? And it became, how can I be in service to this business? Then it's like the words that came out of my mouth were sales, but it felt like I was in service to them. And so that helped. That was the first thing that happened. The second thing that happened was I learned when to stop talking in a contract negotiation because I just felt like I needed to keep giving and giving and giving. So I learned how to stop talking and let the client say, wow, this is great, right? So, but if I had just kept saying, oh, and we can do this and we can do that and maybe I can, whatever, then they would have felt overwhelmed with that.
Yep.
So that's just two little tips. But also, there's all these sales scripts and things, I got to say that, and I'm breathing, letting it go, is that, my husband did all the sales training all of his life, and he was, he did all the, Tommy, what's his name? Back in the day, like in the 80s. Oh my gosh, I can't remember his name. That's really sad. But he did all of that sales training, and the thing about it is I can hear those scripts with certain people when they're trying to make the sale. And I just want to just like go, oh no, don't do that. Just say what you mean and mean what you say and provide service and how this would help them. If you can show them that this is going to help them, there's no selling involved. Mm-hmm. Every client comes with a problem. If you have a solution, you just have to show what the solution is. And then you have to know when to not keep talking and when to let them decide. And you also have to be, I hate to say who originally said this, but you have to be willing to walk away.
Yes. And I think that's also a challenge because in the beginning, when you're first starting, you want to say yes to everything because you're trying to build a business, right? Or even if you're not trying to build a business, you're trying to make money on the side. And so whatever the case is, you're trying to provide a service. And in exchange for that service, you're trying to make some money, right? So whether it's business, something on the side, whatever it is that you want to call it. So I think in the beginning, people tend to say yes a lot. And I think, what was it, like 2 years ago when you were my coach and you were like, you have to say no. It's okay to say no. So I bought a t-shirt that said no because I had to practice because I couldn't help everyone, right? And then I had to decide who it is I want to help and how I want to help them. And so do you guys see Molly in the background? That's my dog. That's my partner in crime. But it's interesting because that no can be challenging to some people. And so that's a really great example because at times I even have in my head, what would Phyllis say? She'd say no.
That's great.
And then you talked about imposter syndrome, and that's a huge one. Do you want to explain what imposter syndrome is? Because I'm not sure if everyone watching might even know what imposter syndrome is.
Yeah, it's a very interesting thing where people, no matter how much they know about a topic, sometimes they feel like when they're talking about the topic that they're not expert enough to legitimately talk about the topic. And so they feel like they're an imposter, that they're like, just like, doing the thing. But a lot of people don't realize how much they know and how much value they add by how much they know. And so it's a feeling inside that you're not qualified to talk about it, but you're talking about it anyway. And so having that imposter syndrome makes you hold back and not share what you know.
Yep.
And everybody has this. Everybody has this. Everybody has this. Everybody does. And there are different ways to deal with it. And there are different, challenges around it in terms of, especially being a social media manager. You forget how much you know, right? You know so much. You've learned so much. And a client says something about something, and you could just talk days about the thing, right? But then sometimes you think, oh, but I'm not a Jay Bear. Oh, I'm not an Ann Handley. And then you think, well, I know as much as those guys do. I really do. And I might not have the same experience they have in certain corporate situations. But I can't discount what I know because it's countable. And it's something that I know and the client doesn't understand. And so I am in a teacher situation here. So I think it's really important to recognize when you have imposter syndrome and then just kind of do those introspective kind of questions. Is this true? Am I an expert in this? Do I know enough to guide the client the next step along the way? And those confidence issues and not comparing yourself to someone else come into play here a lot.
That's actually going to be the next challenge I was going to talk about was compare-itis.
Oh, it gets to everybody.
And I find, I don't know if this happened to you. I mean, because you did a lot of your career as a self-employed person, but I know you had a time where you did work at a school. I found that I had less compare-itis when I worked in a 9-to-5 setting. Because I was so focused on building that one person's business or in whatever capacity that I worked in, right? But when I started to work for myself, all of a sudden, if I'm writing copy, everyone else's copy looks better than mine. If I'm developing a website for someone, everyone's website looks better. And it was really hard. And I had to start blocking.
Yes. Okay. So that's the strategy. And I know so many people have done this. I have a very funny story. I won't name names. You'll know who I'm talking about here. Is that sometimes I would see somebody do something really cool and I would think, oh, that's awesome. I'm going to share it with so-and-so. And I would share it with so-and-so and she'd say, don't send me her stuff. I cannot look at her stuff. I get that comparison thing just like rears up in me and I'm just lost for the day. Don't send me her stuff. I love her. She's doing great. I can't see it. I can't see it because I don't have the ability to deal with it and not compare myself. There are some personalities that have that level of competitiveness in their personality that this happens like automatically, right? It's like if you play tennis and when you play tennis, you're like, I'm going to beat that son of a gun, right? If you notice that competitive nature in yourself, then you will probably have a little bit of a challenge with this. You will see there's always something better than what you're doing, always. And you will see it and you'll go, gosh, dang it, but here's the thing. If you can turn that into, well, I'll just go look at her code and see what platform she's using. Oh, I like her colors. I wonder how my colors would look if I adjusted them. If you learn from it and then do something about it, awesome. But if you just get stuck in that little cycle of gosh, and you just get mad and then you get beat up on yourself because you're not as good as someone else or all of that good stuff, then block the person. Don't look at their stuff. Control your urge to go look at other people's websites. Control your urge to, check out how they're doing Instagram stories. all the things. Know where it picks up for you. until you learn how to use it for good, right? Until you learn how to turn it around and use it for good.
And there are actually apps out there that help you block those things.
Yes.
So like if you know that even within yourself, you can't handle it, it's like, okay, I know I can't look at their stuff. I know I can't look at your stuff, but your mouse is still moving to go look
Yes.
at their stuff. Then it's okay because everyone has challenges. I think that's what I want people to hear is everyone has challenges. And if you know that, you still have to work through them. So get an app that blocks certain things. Get an app that only allows you to be on Facebook for a certain amount of time in the morning and a certain amount of time in the afternoon, just to do the work that you have to do.
Yeah, and that actually is a really good point. If you find that this comes up for you on a regular basis, like after work when you're scrolling through Instagram, then you need to change that habit.
Mm-hmm.
If you find this happens in the middle of the day when you're taking a lunch break and you decide to go over to YouTube, go someplace other than YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
So change where you're going. And again, that's changing habits, and changing habits is this whole other thing, right? Which we could talk about for days also. But that's definitely a challenge, is comparing yourself to others, having that imposter syndrome, having tech challenges, having time challenges, and we talked all about that yesterday and how to organize all of that. Also, personality, like in terms of the sales script challenges, those types of challenges. So, wow, we've covered like another week's worth of discussion there.
Yeah, and mind you, we haven't even how many more challenges are there? There's tons of them.
Yeah.
There is a lot. And one of the ones that I want to talk about, because I think as a social media manager, this is going to be one of those that you have to learn to work with. Not necessarily learn how to work with, but learn how to handle. And that is sometimes you might not get the right client fit.
Oh, that's always a fun one. No. Oh gosh.
And it happens, and I think if we were to poll the people in the group, I think that it'll be like a high 90 that will say they've had at least one client that they were really excited to work with. They got the contract, they started working, and that little spidey sense that they had before they even sent out the contracts, you need to listen to.
Yeah.
And I think it's a challenge, but it's also a hard lesson that I think everyone needs to learn, because you're always going to experience people that you might not work well with. But I think it's how you handle that not working well with them.
Yeah. And it's funny, because of that, I put in the school a list of questions to either ask the new client or to have in the back of your mind and just kind of click them off as you go through things. And because that you're interviewing the client as much as they're interviewing you.
Yes.
Now, a new social media manager is like, work, awesome, that I will bend to you, right? Whereas as you go through time, it's not that way. You need to listen very carefully to a prospective new client, because they will give you clues to how they work and the problems you're going to run into. And if you use your contract well, inside a good social media manager contract, there are clauses on how to communicate, what the boundaries are, all the money situations, who's responsible for all the content and when that's expected. That's a signed contract. And if when going through that contract, a lot of people are afraid to go through that contract with a client. They feel like it will scare them off somehow. You can do it in a conversational way. It's not like you have to say, here, and then clause 4
says,
do it in a conversational way. But the point being is that you need to go through that. And then that list of questions that we have in there will show you if there are any red flags that you need to know about. And then if by the end of that you're going, oh my gosh, I know this is a great monetary thing, but I can see right now this client is going to be messaging me at 2:00 in the morning, wanting to know what the hell's going on, then you need to have a script so that you can say, I have a feeling that you have a great business, but I don't think I'm the right fit for who you need. And then walk away from it and be okay with that and be strong with that, because there is nothing worse than a bad fit with a client. It is like the worst thing. You carry around all that anxiety during the day. You're concerned that you're not doing things correctly. Maybe there's miscommunication and things are said that are not very nice to you. I have had people come to me and the client told me this in a 2 a.m. text, and you think, oh gosh, get out of this thing now, right?
And by the way, I want you guys to know that's exactly how excited Phyllis gets when you contact her. Oh gosh, she stays very, very calm. Oh gosh. I just want you to know that, which is so calming to me.
I've told so many clients, like, run, get out of the contract now.
Yep.
But I say it nicely, so I can't, But that's the thing. All money isn't good money. It's true. You have to know, because here's the thing. This is your business. Your business is your life. You're the one who's going to feel good about your business or not feel good about your business. And so taking on a client just for the money is not worth it. Now, I will say that people who are having, income challenges and they need the money, you can completely disregard what I say and take on these clients. Yes, you will get the money and you will learn what it is to have a terrible client. Do the things to get other clients. Module 1 inside the school is get better clients. I mean, that's the whole thing. It's not just new, it's new and better clients. And the way you do that is to learn to listen, recognize those red flags, have that list of questions that you have that help you kind of navigate their personality and if it's a good fit. And then also that contract, being able to be very clear, this is the way I work and this is how I'm going to support you. And these are the boundaries. Boundaries have become very important in this industry.
And know that these things, when you face a challenge, it's again how you work through it and how you fix it the next time. So one example was one of the clients that I had. I had spidey senses. I knew I shouldn't take it. Like the spideys were tingling. It was just like, something's just not right. It's not right. And guess what? I still signed the contract. I still said, okay, let's do this. The whole time I had those spidey senses going on. But the thing is, after once that client was over, it was funny. I said, look, this is what I had to do. And, I went into the group, I asked for some feedback, and it was really great. I created those processes in my business. And now what I do when I take on a new client is we have a video conference call and I go through those points. Hey, this is the number that you can text me. Know that I will respond within this time and this time. We now have a support at Cafe and Laptop. So now people can email support and we have someone who monitors that email. So there are things that we have in place, but they're in place because of some of the challenges that I faced. And that's why I think it's important for people to understand you're going to face challenges, and you might face challenges that I may never have experienced or Phyllis may never have experienced. And one of the big challenges, and this is something that none of us can control, we can't even tell you how to work with it, is we don't own Facebook. We don't own Instagram. We do not own Twitter, LinkedIn. Basically, you see where I'm going with this, right?
Oh, yeah.
Which means there are going to be times that things, and I guess you can say this falls under tech, but it's not necessarily tech. It's really a platform issue that sometimes things change. And if they change, and we know that sometimes things change and they say, oops, I forgot to let everyone know who's on the platform that this changed.
Yeah, and this has happened so many times in the past. I was trying to think of an actual example, but in terms of these kind of tech challenges, in terms of the platform, right? So Instagram all of a sudden doing shadow banning for hashtags
Mm-hmm.
without really telling anybody that they were doing that. And then the client's like, hey, where is my stuff under this hashtag, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's something that Instagram did not run by me before I did all of that. And the same thing when Facebook started putting all of the Pages posts into the Pages feed, if you remember that.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
What about when Facebook just went down and I had clients say, well, I approve this and it's not going up. Oh, well, it's not going up for anyone, sir.
Yes,
No one.
Facebook is down.
Just
Twitter's
down.
Everything's down, and I just love it. Just as an aside, so when Facebook goes down, everybody goes to Twitter. Right?
Yes, love it.
When Twitter goes down, where do people go?
No one knows where to go.
LinkedIn.
Okay. Because I was like, I remember, but wasn't it only like once Twitter went down or something? But it's interesting because most of the people on Twitter, at least for me personally, people that I'm connected with, I'm already connected with them on LinkedIn. So I see their stuff.
Yeah.
So it's weird. I don't know.
Yeah. So anyway, Twitter is so funny. And everybody says that basically the end of the world is when Facebook and Twitter go down at the same time, which I think they have before. I can't remember because there was all sorts of craziness in the last couple of years with that. But your clients think it's your fault. They always think it's your fault. And it's like, no, this platform, don't shoot the messenger. It's the platform. Well, can you fix that?
Oh, yeah.
No, I don't think I can fix that.
Well, think about it's almost a year from now because it was Black Friday last year. Black Friday. I was doing Facebook ads for clients. And Reed, do you remember what happened with Facebook ads that entire time?
Oh, it was a mess. It
was such a mess and everyone was panicked. And the client was like, well, I can't get it to work. And you said you know how to do this. Yes, but I'm trying to tell you. And so I sent them articles and I was like, here, this is what's going on with Facebook ads right now. I can't fix it. It's not part of my job description. It's not in the contract.
But I'm paying you to fix it. I'm paying you to do this. And it's like, oh, Lord. So, and so again, usually the client is not as savvy as you are in terms of what the platform is responsible for and what you're responsible for. So keeping an even keel and an even head when they're like sending you back sometimes pretty terse messages about why isn't this done? Or just the opposite. The other thing too is sometimes, clients, you and the client are the only ones that are going to see all the posts that are posted. The consumer is going to see maybe 1 out of 10 of those.
Yes.
But getting that through the client to understand that is sometimes really hard because they think the customers are seeing exactly what they see. And that's where the algorithm is like this beautiful, terrible thing that's hard to explain sometimes to a client. But once they get it, they're fine. But in the meantime, they're saying, I've seen this same tweet 5 times this month. It's like, yeah, and nobody else has.
Yep.
They might have seen it once, which actually kind of makes them feel kind of weird because a lot of clients are still, they don't get that nobody sees everything.
Yep.
They don't get that yet. If you can get that across to a client right from the get-go, it's going to solve a lot of problems down the road.
The best one for me was I remember having a client ask me about their stories and they're like, well, I went to check my story. And I said, yes, but we put that story on Monday and today's Thursday. The story's gone.
Yeah.
It's gone. It only lasts for this amount of time. And the thing is, we talk about it like this, but the truth is they're hiring us for our specialty. They're hiring us because we know this part of the business. And so it's important for anyone, and this is a great challenge to have, is that sometimes our challenge is to educate the client, to let them know, hey, this is what I know. And sometimes like I just send some valuable articles to them like, oh, I know we were talking about this, last week. Here's something. Articles helped me quite a bit with the Black Friday thing.
Yeah.
I got a question, and I know this isn't really as much of a challenge. It is a challenge because this is something I think people do ask often is, do you have feelings towards TikTok and Snapchat as a marketing platform? And the reason I mentioned this as an issue or challenge is because sometimes clients come to you and they want to know what is the best platform to market my business on. And you if you are choosing to be a social media expert, because, after a while, people see you as an expert, whether you see yourself as an expert or not, doesn't matter. If you know more than them, sometimes they see you as an expert. So they're going to ask you, what do you think about particular platforms? So it's important to understand each of the platforms unless you are choosing to be a specialist in one particular platform. And so that's the nice thing with being a social media manager. You can say, you know what? I'm only specializing in LinkedIn. So I'm glad you have a question about, Snapchat or Instagram. I could refer you to somebody, but I focus on LinkedIn. Now, as far as the answer to that question, TikTok and Snapchat, I think that they're great marketing platforms based off of who you are targeting. Okay. And also who is managing it. Understand that some of these platforms you need to be on. And when I mean on, you never can go to sleep on. I am not a big proponent of TikTok. And that is just because personally, I am not on TikTok, but as a marketing platform, I think we've tested it out actually in the group, Phyllis. There are some people who are killing it on TikTok. So I can't say, oh no, don't use it. I can tell you, yeah, you should use it if you are targeting such and such, such and such and such and such. But for me as a business owner, it is not a platform that I help people manage.
Yeah, that's a good point. So again, back to how you're designing your business, you get to design it the way you want. You get to work with the platforms you want. And if a client says, look, I think we should be on TikTok because I read that article in the whatever, you can say, hey, we can test it. Not a problem. This is what we can do to test it. This is, the audience there is changing. Actually, on TikTok, it's changing quite a bit right now. The demographic is getting older, just like it does every time. So here's an idea. Here's a strategy. This is what we'll test. We'll do it for this amount of time, and we'll see if it actually hits the goal that you have for doing social media marketing. And if the goal is to get traffic to your website, or if the goal is to get sales, or if the goal is to get a bigger audience, or whatever the goal is, figure out techniques to use that thing to do more things. Now, the thing about TikTok and Snapchat is that you do have to understand how the platform works.
Yes.
To do the test. So unless you're going to educate yourself and really get in there and really see how it works, then I would not offer it as a business. I would find somebody and outsource it to them and partner with somebody or get somebody else on your team to do it. It is, in my opinion, something that needs a little more expertise to do it well on TikTok and Snapchat. Same sort of thing. I think in general, you should test. And if you don't know how to work the system, partner with somebody or outsource to somebody and set up a test for your client.
And with Snapchat, what I've done with Snapchat is I've done Snapchat ads, and I love Snapchat for local events because you buy the filter. And that filter can actually get people to find your information way outside of just that catchment area, which is really great. And so that has been a great ROI for some of my clients. But that's pretty much as far as I go with the Snapchat, just because I tend to manage LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, things like that.
Right. Those things are really good to do. And that happens a lot. I know a lot of our members in the school do that for their clients, and it works great, especially for events and things. Also, do you say GIF or GIF?
GIF. It's a GIF. And I know, isn't it supposed to be a GIF or something?
Here's the thing. It's a GIF to me. So I'm just going to say it that way. If you can build these branded ones to be able to use and turn them into stickers, and you can do all these things that you can do. So that's sort of like technical, artistic know-how is a wonderful thing to add as a service to your clients, especially if it seems like a good fit with the business. So again, either you learn to do that and really master that and maybe even niche into that. You can offer that service. Like inside the school, when someone says, oh, I need a frame made for an event, there are people, I know how to do that, and you could just hire them, right?
Someone asked, do you know what tool they're using to go live? I like the video frame. Thank you. I am using, I think I have the link. I am using StreamYard. I use StreamYard. It's a third-party app, and that's what allows me to multi-stream. And then I create the banners and the background and all of that other good stuff for live streaming.
Hire her to make those for you.
And my little intro. You guys missed my intro.
Yes, do the intro. Can you stick
You want me
intro?
to? I can do the intro again.
Okay, everybody, just be prepared because you might jump a little bit. Here we go.
Yeah, so I like to make sure that when you are doing these things, especially you want your brand to stand out. So I like StreamYard for that. There are other tools out there for live streaming, but StreamYard is by far my favorite.
Yeah, and especially since today I've had tech challenges with a competitor's brand, and I'm thinking, well, forget this. I'll just go get my StreamYard all set up. Think I can do that in 40 minutes? Because that's how long I would have.
You can do it in like 5.
Oh, see?
Yeah, but you always tell me that that's just the tech side of me. So, but you've used the other platform before. So because you've used the other platform before, I know you have all your banners and stuff already set up. So you're good.
We won't name names.
Yes.
But
the competitor that will not be named.
and it's true though, sometimes those competitors, they work great and sometimes they don't. And again, it's not necessarily your fault. It's the platform is doing something weird, or it's in beta and it's not working properly for all things, all the things. So we haven't got to the PJ part of this.
I know this
conversation.
And we don't have a lot of time, so we have to talk about PJs. Have to. So do you wear PJs when you work from home? Okay, and you guys, I don't know if anyone who is watching actually works from home, but if you work from home, go ahead and let us know. Do you wear PJs when you work from home? I think I'm going to actually tweet that out and ask people if they wear PJs when they work from home. And I'm going to be honest and tell you guys for myself.
All right. Should we wait for a few answers, or should we share our personal?
Share our personal in the meantime. I have to look for the great PJ gift right now.
So here's the thing. I have a long time ago have this sort of term that I use for what I wear during the day. I have my night jammies and my day jammies, right?
Oh.
So my night jammies are just a little, really very comfortable, but my day jammies are very comfortable. But if the UPS guy comes to the door, he doesn't think that I just rolled out of bed. But it's basically the same thing, only I call them my daytime jammies, right? So it's all about comfort. And especially, if you're sitting, most people should be standing, by the way, if you're working at home. But if you're sitting a lot, the last thing you want to be wearing is your dress pants. Now, I will say some people need to get dressed to feel productive. I went through this phase. It's such a funny thing to think about. I went through this phase. I could not work unless I had on tennis shoes.
What?
It's like my brain would not function.
Okay, I'm not that girl.
It was just a phase. It was just maybe it lasted maybe 8 months, but it was a long phase. And I noticed that I would start to work and I was like, I can't do anything. And I'd go put on my tennis shoes and I was right there. And I'm like, this is the weirdest thing, but I just went with it because I needed to be productive. So I don't know what it was about having to put on tennis shoes. And then one day it was just like, it's not a thing anymore. I'm sharing my experience
Hey,
here.
I'm not going to knock you. Okay, so I'm going to be honest. So I would love to work in PJs. Love to work in PJs. And can I tell you why I don't? Because I have to drop off the kids in the morning.
Yes.
That is literally
Yeah.
probably the only reason that I don't. Okay. And so I wanted to prove it to you guys. I have a shirt on, and oh my God, how far can I go? Can I go far enough that you can see? I
You have
even
on
have
PJs?
colored pants, and they're actually jeans. So they are not PJ pants. But there have been times when I do a live that I may have a pretty top on, and I happen to have flannel pants on that may or may not be PJs.
Yes. Which probably are. And this is the thing, and it's a kind of a joke in our industry that you really only need to get dressed from the waist up because nobody ever sees anything else.
Yeah.
Unless I have to run to the door, which has happened on occasion. And I'm just glad I had on like normal pants because otherwise people would be like, are those her pajamas? But the thing about it is again, it's just how are you designing your business,
Yep.
right? What makes it work for you? If you have day pajamas and you have to wear tennis shoes to be functional, then do that. If you have been working in corporate for 40 years and the last thing you want to do is to put on a pair of pants, then don't. I mean, just don't. I worked when I worked as the music teacher in a previous lifetime ago. They had a dress code. And that dress code was I had to wear a dress or a skirt but not pants. That's how old I am. Okay, so anyway.
That's how young she is.
So for 13 years, I could not wear pants to work. Now, I have to tell you, those last 3 years I worked, I like broke all the rules. I broke all the rules because I'm like, I can't do this anymore. So when I quit working there, I said, I will never wear a dress again. And I haven't. So the thing about it is that you might be coming from a situation where you had to get dressed up all the time and now you don't want to. You may come from a situation where you got dressed to feel productive and you have to get dressed now to feel productive. Again, you have to figure this out when you're beginning to build your own business. And sometimes, you go through phases like the tennis shoe thing. So do what works for you. If you don't have to be on screen.
You don't, yeah. The other thing I was thinking about when you were saying all this is in the winter. So my husband bought me these onesies. Oh my goodness. Biggest downfall. So in the winter, I do wear my onesies because I do not like to be cold. I do not like to be cold. And Angela actually came up. This is really cool. And this is perfect for branding. She says, I conduct fireside Fridays in my jammies and robe on Friday mornings. I think that is really cool. And you're definitely making PJs fashionable if you're doing that. That is really awesome.
Yes. And like Mel Robbins does her morning coffee break thing. They're all running around just like getting dressed and things like that, and with curlers in their hair and the whole bit. And that's totally cool. And the thing about it is, you really shouldn't care what other people say about how you look. It's more about how you feel about yourself and how you look. And I love the idea of doing a fireside chat in the morning with jammies and a cup of coffee with fuzzy slippers or something. I think that would be like awesome.
I know. I'm like, man, and I could do my onesies. I would definitely do my onesie. That's it. It would be my onesie with my cup of coffee. Good to go.
Yeah. And the thing about it is, again, this is exactly it. I work best when.
Yep.
And that should be, everybody should just write that down and think about it. I work best when.
Yep.
And oh my gosh, everybody's answer to that is going to be different. For Camille, is that the way? I hope I'm saying your name right. Fully dressed, face on, and hair done, and that's when she works the best. And you know that about yourself, and awesome. When I was writing that second book and I was writing 10 hours a day and doing clients and the whole bit, I did not care how I looked. I did not care because I was just like, all I could do was do the writing and do the writing well. Andrea, Amy and I had a private Facebook group at that time. We called it our, well, I won't tell you what we called it, but we could go in there and just like, about, especially about Facebook, because, you know, we would be writing a chapter and then Facebook would change something again, and then we'd have to rewrite the chapter. So, again, back in the day, you couldn't go live inside of those Facebook groups, so we never saw how we looked. I've done masterminds and group meetings and stuff, and maybe half the people come in and they're like dressed, makeup and hair it's done, and the other half like, hey, I just came back from the gym. It's like, okay, whatever works for you, right? Is totally okay. And also whatever works for your brand.
Oh yeah, it's got to be what works for your brand. Angela just told me that onesies are welcome for Fireside Fridays, so I might end up not changing. You know, just putting some onesies on Friday and stopping in for the fireside.
That's great. That sounds like a lot of fun. And again, back to pajamas, pajamies, the PJs. You know, this whole category of how to design your business so it works for you, not to have any preconceived ideas about how a business works. Again, you get to design it. You are the CEO of your business. You get to decide how it works. And so just do you. I think, how many times have I said do you in this week?
In this session, like every day, I think you mentioned do you.
You know, I have my hashtag over here. It says hashtag totally doable, because I say that a lot. I think I've changed. Do you seems to be neck and neck with the totally doable this week.
This is a great one where it said, I love working from home, but I don't like my kids to see me in PJs all day. I don't want to model that to them. And I think that, I mean, I can't tell anyone what is right and what is wrong. Like, I have certain things that I tell my kids have to be done, whether I work from home or not. And then they also said, putting on clothes energizes me, but to each its own, do you. And I love that. Like, my kids understand that I believe your bed needs to be fixed. You know, that's what you do in the morning. Normally, I like my husband to do it, but, you know, I can't get everything. But they know that. There are certain things. So my daughter, even though sometimes she likes to wear PJs, and it's funny, like, I didn't realize that until you posted that comment, was that I like her to get ready and then she could wear her day PJs. Because to me, it's just a shift from your sleeping to your whatever activity. So it doesn't mean that you have to dress up and put the face on, like we call it, but it is shifting your mind to the next thing that you have to do.
Yeah, and a lot of people associate wearing your PJs as being sick, right? Because,
true.
You know, if you're sick, a lot of times you just stay in your PJs all day long and then just, you know, do the thing. And especially, you know, we getting into parenting here. One day, all of y'all's kids are going to be like in their 30s, like mine are, and whatever you taught them as a kid, it's like they're going to do their own thing. But they have in the back of their head the things that they grew up with, right? And they have some things that they carry through, and there's some traditions and stuff. But they will like more than likely do the opposite of what you are teaching them. So you're just going to have to be okay with it. The shift from day to work, you know, again, some people work at night, and so they change into their pajamas and they work at night, and so they're in their pajamas. So that's not a thing for them, right? They have to get dressed in the morning to go take the kids and do the errands and all the things that they have to do out and about. And then when they work, they're in their pajamas, or at least from waist down, depending on what they do. The one thing that I really like in terms of tech recently is things like on Instagram, where they have these nice filters where you don't necessarily have to, and this is woman to woman here, do the face. You can just put the filter on, and what a brilliant brilliant thing that is. And the more they can do that, the better. But also, I really want people to think more and more about, and this is coming from me, and that is that the more and more that we can see women as they are without makeup and hair, the better we will all be as a gender-ish for time. And I think about this in terms of like men. It used to be they had to have a tie on.
Yep.
Had to have a tie on, right? And now, if they have a tie on, it's like, why do you have a tie on, right? It's a little odd sometimes. And for women, you had to have hair and makeup. And now it's like there's a lot of fraying of that through time. And I think that's an excellent thing to go toward. It's a wonderful thing that we should be able to just be who we are without being judged for not having on hair and makeup. So I really think it's going to take a while, because a lot of these things are so deep into our culture and psyche and history. But I really, really hope that for the future.
Yeah, that stuff is no, you're right though. That is something that's deeply rooted in our society. Like when you talked about that you worked in a place that you had to wear a dress or skirt all the time.
Yeah.
When I was in school, I went to Catholic school up until 9th grade, and we always wore skirt. So when I went to public school for the very first time, I went to school and all I had were skirts. That's what I had. And I remember kids making fun of me, like that's all I wore, And I remember thinking, oh my God, they're wearing jeans. And it wasn't that I thought jeans were bad. It was just I associated going to school with wearing a skirt, stockings, whatever. It wasn't anything bad. That was just what I thought you're supposed to do.
Mm-hmm. And things change, change through time. And that's really cool. So there was a question there about alternate workspace.
Yes.
This is great. So this happens. Just so you know, I don't schedule live streams on Thursdays at a certain time because my neighbor, that's when they always mow their lawn. And their boundary line is like right outside this window. And I can't tell you how many weeks it took me to figure that out. And it was just like, mute the mic. I'll just take a second. So when things like that happen, my favorite place to go is, the local coffee house. I mean, that's just where I go. It depends on the work that you're doing. I wrote a good part of that second book from a coffee shop. And I was very productive. And so, and that was mostly because in the little teeny town that I live in, it takes them 2 weeks to install internet. Like, what?
Oh my gosh.
Oh, but I work. I have to have my internet. And so thank goodness for a nice coffee shop with good Wi-Fi, right? But that's a good place to go. The library here, has, I don't know about libraries where you are, but our library has all these individual like meeting rooms, like they're like studio rooms. And you can just go sign in and go use them for free and hook in and just do your work in there. And it's so quiet. It's like super quiet. That's a really great place to go. Other great places to go are, I once set up shop in the mall in a little comfy chair in a little cafe right inside the mall. And this might have been in Texas. There's a big mall that has like a big loop around it.
I was going to say, this is Texas. Everything is big in Texas. So that just went downhill. That's like every mall.
Yeah, I got so much done. I mean, somehow that amount of noise, I was able to just like really focus. And so weird places like that. So don't just think, a coffee shop or a library. Think about other places. I've, worked from your car. How many people have worked from their car? All the time. In the parking lot at Walmart. I can't tell you. I've recorded YouTube videos from the parking lot at Walmart. I've answered emails. I've texted people. I've had conversations. It's almost like my second office.
Yeah, I work in actually on the line to pick up your child because the line is so long. It's a great spot to work. But if you're looking for just alternative and making sure that you have things set up, definitely the library, coffee shops. I never thought about the mall. That's a really good idea. I also have a co-working space.
Yes.
So, and the co-working spaces are amazing. I don't know how much they are in your area, but you can sometimes get a decent co-working space at a really good price.
Yes.
And if you work from home, you might not need an office. Like you don't need to have a private office, but you just want the ability to be able to go someplace that has internet service.
Yes.
So you can also do that. And also think of any place that has free Wi-Fi. Like there is a little spot that we love to go to, and it is a bubble tea spot. And I never knew. And I'm like, I would go in and out. And one day I just saw the little sign that said free Wi-Fi. I said, I will be here. I'm going to buy the bubble tea anyway. So I might as well sit down and do some work. And it's nice. It has that little buzz of a coffee shop, but not too loud. So it keeps my brain going because I like to have some noise. I always like to have noise in the background.
But here's the other thing too, in terms of Wi-Fi, you know, you have to think about if it's secure to do that where you're going. So a lot of times I will just hotspot to my phone. Mm-hmm. And if you hotspot to your phone, I have to plug mine in or else it just drains the battery. So wherever I go, I have to definitely be able to plug in and then have really good, because I have unlimited data on my phone and hotspot. So to me, that's a quicker way to do things. So you might want to think about that also instead of just using the Wi-Fi.
And I also use, because I travel a lot. So I just recently switched to unlimited because I switched my plan. But prior to that, I have BOGO.
Yeah.
Is it called BOGO? I think that's what it's called. But because I was literally like last year, remember how much I was traveling for speaking engagements? I spent more time in airports than I did anything else.
Yes.
So because of that, I just bought that. And I think it was like maybe $5 a month. But I had internet, and it was secure internet because you had to have a username and password. I mean, you could get the free one, but I needed the secure one. I taught a class to college students at the airport. Just found a little corner, had my BOGO, and I had my Wi-Fi. So
you got to do all the things. Oh, I kind of missed it. We're going to close this up.
I know.
Oh, no, this has been so much fun. You've just been so wonderful with this whole series, and it's just been fabulous. It's such a good thing. And
I know. I had a great time. Thank you guys so much. I think I met some people that I've known via email mostly. So this has been a really great experience. We will, I don't know, I know I will continue to do these live streams, and because I use StreamYard, like I told you guys before, I will stream them all over and make sure that I have some content that goes really well with just entrepreneurship, marketing, mindset, all of those great things. I want to thank you guys again for being part of this 5-day series. It will be up all over the place. We're going to be downloading them and uploading them onto IGTV, so you'll be able to see them on there as well. And again, if you guys are interested in being a social media manager, you want to work from home, I highly recommend that you guys look into Social Media Manager School. The link is below. I think I have links all over the place. But again, stop, ask questions. I actually am meeting with a few people this evening to talk about Social Media Manager School. So drop a note, let us know. And thank you. Have an amazing weekend.
Yes. Take a break.
I know.
Have a good time.
All right. Bye-bye, guys.